BlogTalk Radio.
Hello, everyone. This is Chrism, and I'd like to welcome you to this program about your Kundalini awakening experiences. I'm just going to go ahead and dive in. First, though, I'd like to do a little bit of a sound check here, and if anybody in the chat room would let me know through typing if the sound is coming through. We have to do this at every show because sometimes BlogTalk Radio is having a bit of a challenge, and so I see that BlogTalk is kind of removing some people from the chat room. So I'm running out of people to give me a sound check here. Okay, sound is good. Thank you, Manisha. Thank you very much. Okay, so today, let's just dive right into it. Today, one of the topics I want to discuss today is about relationship. The Kundalini will bring you together with people who are, in a way, designed energetically, karmically, and genetically designed to suit the level of karma that you need to face in this lifetime. And it's not all bad karma. You know, everybody has kind of this idea that karma, it's bad karma, or, oh, gosh, as the ancient Chinese curse says, that may you meet all your karma in one lifetime. Well, that's not necessarily all bad at all. There's plenty of levels of good karma because we have done good things in our lives, and we have done good things in other times that we've been alive on this world as well, and on other worlds as well. And so it's not all about bad karma, so don't let that slow you down. Within relationships, the Kundalini will draw you towards and draw the other person towards you in a way that allows you to connect, and not only to connect for the sake of love and the sake of attraction, but also for the sake of spiritual evolution. And people need to understand that, especially if both of you are aware of the word Kundalini, outside of, say, Yogi Bhajan's Kundalini Yoga, but if you're aware of the word outside of that one reference point to it, then there is a certain part of you that is quite aware of what is going on within. And it's very important for you to understand that it's not an accident that the two of you are working together. It's not an accident at all. And so don't treat it like an accident. And it looks like I have a question right off the bat here. So I'm going to go ahead and move it on over to this caller here. Hello, 818 area code. You're on the show. Welcome.
Hi. Wow. I can relate what you're saying in so many ways. I kind of feel I did something today. Can I tell you? Is that all right?
Sure. Make sure it's G-rated.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it's G-rated, but it's something I wish I didn't do. Maybe it's because it's a full moon. Are you familiar with the full moon and what's happening right now? Maybe this is why I did it.
Okay. Let's hear what you did.
Okay. I wrote about gaslighting on my computer, and it brought back memories about gaslighting and brainwashing. And I realized that I know what I'm about. And I thought, oh, I discovered all these new things. And then when I looked on something, I said, oh my God, I already learned this before, but why does it seem so new today? And then when I was looking at gaslighting and brainwashing and all of these things, I said, oh, it's this again. So it's like, you get what I'm saying? I kind of feel naked almost.
Well, I mean, what do you consider gaslighting to be?
What I experienced, my ex-husband perceiving the world differently than you. They do. Do you gaslighting? They do things to your brain. So your perception is different. You think you're going insane. They made a movie about it, and they moved things around, and my children were subjected to.
I mean, you know who you are, right?
I do, but see, today I thought I'm discovering new things, and it's like, how can I explain it to you? It's not new at all. It's like I've already wrote about it on a piece of paper. I already wrote it under a picture, but I was so excited that I finally was getting it. And then when I realized that, wait a minute, I just forgot that I forgot that I knew it. You get what I'm saying? Yeah.
Sure, sometimes
I'm
we can
just
get
getting
so wrapped up
emotionally
into
about it. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Sometimes we can get wrapped up in a situation that kind of clogs up our personal awareness, and sometimes it takes a little bit of a jolt to get us back into that personal awareness.
I never had personal awareness. I'm discovering personal awareness.
Well, if you knew who you were, and if you remembered, what you just said you remembered, then you did have personal awareness. You just remembered an aspect of it that perhaps the drama and the programming may have made you unaware of.
Okay.
Right?
I guess people say different ways of saying personal awareness, and my awareness of things are vibrations. Everything's vibrations. We're all vibrations, and I pick up vibrations and energy intuitively. And yet there's other people who have different types of awareness, like people's intentions and body language and all of that, and that, to me, is difficult.
Are you aware of the Kundalini?
I believe I experienced it on a telephone call with somebody, opened all my chakras, and you can explain to me what you feel is Kundalini. I thought I experienced, because when I explained to someone what I went through one time, she says, yes, that is Kundalini, and I wasn't the same person after that. My whole past was gone, and then this person started working on me regarding brainwashing, what he wanted me to learn. A fake guru. So, yeah.
You don't need a big guru to work on you in order to have the Kundalini. Many people have it. It's, to me, to give it a sound bite, it's the divine at the base of your spine. And there are many ways that can be awakened, and it brings a level of mental clarity, but also a level of egoic mental confusion that can happen to a person as we're in an ego-infested society, and you're coming in with a clean egoic slate. Well, there can be some confusions associated with that.
Oh, yes. Yes, definitely.
And perhaps that might be partially what you're going through right now.
I don't think I ever got rid of it. Once you get it, doesn't it stay with you, the Kundalini?
No, you don't get rid of it.
Oh, okay. And the awakening, that too, it stays with you. Once you've been awakened, those two things, they stay with you.
They do. They stay with you permanently.
And also, I have no filter. I was a premature baby who perceived the world anyway differently. So you get one person in tune to the universe, and the other part of me doesn't quite get it. So it's like, whoa.
Were you happy with what the big guru was programming into you?
What, I was happy? At the time, I was happy with him.
Are you happy now?
That was pretty. Today, I feel a little bit like, whoa, it happened again. So I am happy. I know my own truth now. He wasn't the only sociopath I've been involved with. I've been through many of them, but each time I'm learning more and more, and I'm getting stronger, which is good. It's just
you're calling the big guru that helped you a sociopath?
Oh yeah, he was a sociopath. He was a spiritual vampire.
I see.
You know about those?
Yeah, I do.
I'm sharing a little more than I was supposed to do with you. I'm sorry if I'm
supposed to. Who's telling you how much to share?
Most people would say go off the phone already because you're sharing too much. People get upset that when I speak my own truth. It's hard for someone to even understand it, that any of it, what goes through somebody. I wasn't this way. growing up. My dad said I lived in a dream world, meaning I didn't understand time and I thought everything was an illusion. And I never learned intuition or awareness or had boundaries. So I guess I was very naive in the world. And when I met a person I didn't know was a sociopath, my ex-husband, that started because I didn't understand intuition, my own gut feeling, my own body. I couldn't even understand why I was feeling that way. But that's just the journey I went through. And some people would say, oh, you had to go through this because your life was too good, so you had to experience pain. So people have said different things, and some of it I believe is truth. Other things I say, no, why did I have to experience pain? Children can learn by love. They don't have to experience by pain.
Well, you also learn through pain, too. This is a world that incorporates painful teachings.
But yes, unfortunately, yes. But do we have to go through it?
And I guess you said fake guru.
Yes.
So it wasn't a real guru. It was a fake guru. Right?
Yes.
I see.
But some of the teachings, the thing is, I realized today is that all the people I had that were twisted, I call them twisted, their life lessons they taught me, yes, I am corporate in my life, and I will remember it. And I don't have to remember how they did it to me and who they were. It's just remember what you were supposed to learn, the life lesson.
Right. Do you think that you're kind of adopting a victim mentality?
No, I don't. No. Oh, definitely not a victim. Oh, no. Because if I got something out of everything, I wasn't a victim. So I just learned my knowledge by experiencing things so I could share it with another person. No, I don't want to think. I don't want to think I'm a victim. I was drugged, and I lost my free will. So, but I don't think I don't like to say the word victim. I believe I'm a survivor of it, but not a victim.
Oh, good.
Oh, thank you. I'm sorry. I've been through when you go through abuse and things like that. When people say you're a victim, I say no. I don't want to even hear that word from some.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So.
Well, is there any kind of a specific question I can help you with?
Well, it seems like what you're saying is that this is pretty much what you go through. If you go through Kunalini or you go through awakening, that you look at the world in a different way.
Depends on if you have a fake guru in your life or not. I mean, if it can be difficult for people. Kundalini awakening is definitely not the easiest experience to have if you don't have a kind of guidance that isn't, vampiring off of you or programming certain lessons within you that would aid the harvesting of your energy or the harvesting of your attention. Mm-hmm. It sounds to me like you've gone through a bit of that. With regards to a classical Kundalini awakening, the Kundalini itself offers fairly strong forms of guidance, but they're not always within formats that people can understand. And so that's when she will insert a teacher's name that she wants you to go to. And so all of a sudden you'll wake up, say from a sleep or from a meditation or just from going around, through your life, you'll come to the knowledge of somebody's name that you don't know, and you might look up that name on the web or in whatever format she wants you to find that name. And then you're to go to that teacher, to that guru, if they call themselves a guru.
Wow.
And that is a clear indication from Kundalini that she wants you to learn certain things from that person.
Wow. Oh, then I may share something with you. That is amazing what you said. Okay, I was in Trader Joe's, and I was by some oil, palm oil, and a odd man came up to me. Now, this is not the first time it's happened in my life, but this time he said, channel, and he pointed to the ceiling, and my family's from England, so I thought water. And I said, water? And he says, no. And then he said about the person, that spiritual person, was coming back into my life, and I freeze for fear. So I froze, and he said he wasn't supposed to tell me anything more, but he was kind. He says, I'm going to tell you, write these 2 words down. And one of the words was echo, and the other one was Panchidasi. DASNI. When I looked up those 2 words, would you believe it, that I wrote something similar 2 days before what that philosopher was telling. So are you telling me that all of this had to do with the Kundalini? Because I experienced that before this person came into my life. This man just happened to come up to me in the market. And what the words mean is vibrations and energy. And if I could find it, what it's all about, I think you would like it. It's amazing.
I would say that the Kundalini may have forwarded that whole scenario to you. We don't get a lot of accidental encounters, in grocery stores like Trader Joe's or the gas station or restaurants or hospitals, schools. I mean, when you're dealing with looks like, are you still there?
Yeah, I am. I'm overwhelmed right now. So you're telling me that all these people that came forward after that, once it was opened up, the word echo, and I read about it, the next day more and more people were echoing. The whole universe was echoing to me. Wherever I was going, it was getting stronger and stronger. Even this phone call right now, I believe it's meant to happen. So, but I didn't know what caused it. And you're telling me that it's possibly the
cause. Huh? You have to understand the Kundalini is a sentient consciousness of divinity within a person. That's what it's all about. And that's why I say it's the divine at the base of the spine. And so it can create circumstances that will come into a person's life that are there for them to learn from, that are there to propel themselves forward into their spiritual evolution.
That's what it's all about.
That happening to you.
Wow. Oh, my gosh. That's what it was all about. But some of the teachers, after that one, another one came up that was a sociopath too, but he taught me different things. So everyone's coming forward to me. It's up to me to make the decision of, do I want to go with this person to experience that or leave that person alone? So,
well, if you find that their teachings are not resonating with you, then you want to look at what the teachings are actually saying, and then look at what part of you they're not resonating with. So, for instance, if they're not resonating with an attachment that you have or a desire that you have or your ego, if it's not resonating with your ego, well, maybe that's something that your ego needs to learn in order to begin to teach the ego to detach from its expectations of how you should be treated or how you should be taught or what you should be given to learn. And then you can begin to maybe find some clarity within yourself about whether that guru or teacher is really, being a sociopath with you, or is actually teaching you a lesson that you could actually benefit from.
They all taught me something I never knew, awareness in their form. It's just the way they did the teaching was abusive and inhuman, the way they felt they had to teach me.
Inhuman? Give me an example of what inhuman would be.
Well, inhuman is that I was going against my own self, gentle brainwashing, or losing your freedom, your will. I got to the point where the last person was not my vibrations were disappearing. I was dying inside, and his friend had to sexually awaken me by a kiss. So I mean, these are forms of extremeness that I've experienced. It.
Well, I mean, you'll lose aspects of yourself that you're clearly attached to. The ego body itself, I mean, when you start losing the ego body and its control over you, it feels like you're dying because this is all you've known throughout your entire life. And so, when the ego starts to fade away, well, you think that your life is fading away, when in fact, what's being taken out is a major impediment to your spiritual divine awakening. You can't really embrace the divine and embrace the ego at the same time. You understand?
Well, what I was feeling dying is that I am a highly sensitive person, and I thought this person was an empath. And I'm a feeling person, and it got to the point where I couldn't feel anything anymore in my own being, my own body. And I was getting depressed. I was feeling darkness, and I was feeling really toxic around this individual. But at first I thought, well, I'm supposed to feel this way because this is what an empath feels like, and he was teaching, I'm learning about to be empathy for somebody, but it got too strong. And
yeah, I'm not a real supporter of the whole empathy thing. I think that's more of an ego-related condition than anything helpful.
Interesting. You said ego. He said he didn't have an ego.
Yeah. Well, yeah. How convenient for him.
Wow. Amazing that you're telling me all this. This is like meant to happen. It's like I'm overwhelmed right now. I almost fell off the couch. So I mean, that's how strong the vibrations are right now. But I wanted to share that saying with you.
Yeah,
so
you don't want to buy into anybody saying they don't have an ego. That's just a patent.
Really?
Misappropriation of the truth.
Wow. Again. Okay, everything that person I'm going to throw out the door, except for some of the things he's about nutrition and things like that.
Use your discernment about that. But I want you to kind of I want to suggest to you gently that maybe you can reassess some of the experiences that you've had and reassess them within a Kundalini context, meaning that you take your ego response out of the discernment of the teachings and look at it clearly from a less emotional, less empathic state of mind. And yes, everything is vibration, but it doesn't mean that you have to match every vibration that's out there. You can hold your own vibration expression and let that also be a part of the great collective of grace that is surrounding this world and upon this world. Don't sell yourself short. Don't feel that you've always got to go somewhere else to get a teaching. In many ways, you just need to go within yourself with a meditation and get the teaching straight from the Kundalini.
Interesting. You're saying all that. I thought, okay, each person was teaching me their own truth, and I felt that this is the way you learn from going into their world.
Well, you have to let yourself be discerning of their world. So you don't let yourself enter into abuse. You don't let. Well, I mean, it depends. I mean, when you're doing egoic teachings and taking the ego out of the equation, that can seem like it is abuse. It can feel very abusive, but in fact, it is actually an ego training. So you need to discern for yourself whether or not these people are taking power from you, or that your ego is being relieved of its control over your life. And if I were you, area code 818, so I don't know your name, if I were you, I would go within first. I would go to your Kundalini first. And I wouldn't do any channeling. I wouldn't do any mediumship. I wouldn't do any kind of spiritism. I would just go straight to the base of the spine and ask, I'd say these words, my Kundalini is what I'm experiencing with this person truth. And is it a truth that I need to continue to access? And if not, please let me know what I need to do. And then listen to the guidance you get. And remember, if you're guided to hurt somebody or steal from somebody or in any way impede another person's spiritual evolution, this would not be the Kundalini talking to you. This would be an entity, some sort of a dark spiritual entity that has been attached to you.
Even that person who taught me the Kunalini, if he was dark, then that means that it wasn't truthful what he was doing. He just took that. He just wanted to use me.
If his signature was dark and yet he still, activated your Kundalini, Your Kundalini is as pure as it gets, and so there's nothing that he can do can sully your Kundalini.
But he opened it up. I mean, he brought it forth by opening all the chakras
He may have opened it up just to try to harvest it. But
yes.
You know what? I mean, the fact of the matter is your energy belongs to you, and it doesn't work for other people.
Oh.
So you have nobody can take anything from you. From a Kundalini basis. Well,
draining you, meaning that they. Now I understand. Well, here, let me read this to you if you don't mind. I'm an energetic being. The frequency at which I vibrate informs every aspect of my life. When I share my love with others, what I vibrate out into the world, the universe echoes back to me. So.
Okay. Wait.
Yes.
This is basically a program.
It is a program.
This is a program that the individual is telling you what they do and inserting a cause and effect within their programming about what they say they do. This is not necessarily the truth.
It's not.
So, you don't necessarily need to buy into it.
What? This is not.
You don't necessarily need to buy into what that person is saying. Unless it's you that's saying it.
Well, I kind of wrote something about it, which I believe we do echo from each other. And the person who wrote it was Panachedesai. But what you were saying to me...
I don't know what that's...
he's a philosopher. But what you were saying about the Kunalini, that you would be getting it from different forms. It will, someone will come, you'll like, what were you saying? Like, it will come towards you by different ways, through different people?
Well, no.
Maybe I misunderstood.
Inside you. The Kundalini is inside you. It's in the last three vertebrae of your tailbone. You always have the Kundalini. You don't have to get it from other people. You always
but don't they have to bring it out of you? No?
Well, you and your Kundalini will allow itself to be brought out from you. And so if you are guided by the Kundalini to meet a certain person, well, then it's the Kundalini that's guided you there, not that other person.
I see. But didn't he open it up for me to bring it forth that night when he opened all the chakras and I went through that whole process?
Yeah, no. He did not do that. No, he made you think that he did that. And he gave you some symptoms to make you think that he did that. But he did not do that.
Yes, he gave me a symptom.
Kundalini is not something that is like a rabbit in some magician's hat, and the magician sticks his hand in the hat and pulls the rabbit out by the ears. It's not that way. Kundalini is a divine source. It is the most powerful source and intellect and consciousness that humanity can even envision. And some guy is not just going to be able to pull your Kundalini out of the last three vertebrae of your tailbone just because he wants to. No.
But I never felt that before. It's like a...
Well, I mean, it was just new symptoms for you.
Well, it was like an orgasm. I mean, such a strong force.
Yeah, but he didn't do it. The Kundalini. If the Kundalini came up, then it's the Kundalini that did it. And the Kundalini just used perhaps his presence as a way for you to have a reference point for what was occurring and to validate it through that reference point.
But, so he took credit for something he never did, of course.
There you go. Now, there's a
my
sociopath.
Gosh. So it was inside me all the time and harvested, meaning that he wanted all my gifts to use for his purposes.
Well, he can't have them. He can't use your gifts because they're yours.
That's why the manifestations didn't work for him. I mean, some too did when he got inside my dreams. That's what these beings come towards me. I can manifest, so they can't do it. So, you gave me a gift, right? It makes sense what you're saying, but I could never explain it to someone that what I've discovered today. It's like I can't explain it.
Well, my dear, I'm going to go ahead and move on.
The words won't come out.
That's okay. But I want to move on with the program, and I want to thank you very much, 818, for calling in.
Thank you for letting me be on the phone so long. Maybe I helped someone else who wasn't able to be
maybe
verbal.
Maybe so. Definitely so, I would say. Thank you, my dear.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye. And so there we have it, ladies and gentlemen, from 818, and there she goes. And it's a little late in the show, but I want to go ahead and bring on the queen of Celtic Kundalini in the Emerald Isle. Here is my co-host, Santara. Hello, Santara.
Hi, Chrism. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Is my sound okay?
It's the same as when we discussed it before the show. Maybe I just have cotton in my ears that I forgot I left in my ears or something like that. But to me, it sounds a bit
woolly.
No, it's just diminished. I've got my speakers on high here. I'm thinking about putting my headphones in. If Lasha would allow me to put my headphones in. Yes, I'm sorry.
No. Well, while you're doing that, I'm going to go ahead and give the website people can come.
You're getting even dimmer now. Can you make sure you're close to the microphone?
Yikes! I just came closer.
Go ahead, Amelia.
Okay, so you can go to www.kundalini.blogspot.com.
That's an R scratching. Sorry.
Okay.
That's my big German shepherd giving herself a little scratch. There's.
Okay. Well, okay. So you can go to www.chrism-kundalini.blogspot.com or kundalinisafeties.com or kas1uk.com if you would like to make a donation.
Stop it, Lenore. All right, I gotta put her in the back.
Oh, she's so gorgeous.
Come here, sweetheart. Come on. Let's go back.
Okay, so while Chrism is doing that, those are the three websites you can go to, any one of those, if you would like to make a donation towards the work that Chrism does. There's donate buttons on each of those websites, and it is very easy to donate from any of them, really. All donations are very welcomed. So if you're in a position to do that and you want to help with this wonderful work that has been done for Kundalini people and from Kundalini, it would be very appreciated. And I think Chrism is back.
I'm sort of back.
Okay.
Reaching for my headphones here so I can hear you.
Okay.
Just a second. I got to stick them in here. Tap dance.
Okay, so another thing I'd like to share with you is if you are on the Facebook group, if you go over to Kundalini Awakening ! On the Facebook group, you will see Manish is after posting a link there where you can download Chrism's Kundalini Sacred Music. And this is a CD, or it's a download that offers 7 songs and chants and mantras given to Chrism by the Kundalini, the Shakti Kundalini. And also there's a wonderful discussion at the end of the download where Chrism talks about the safeties. And this is really worth having because I know from my own experience when I've listened to it, I hear new things each time. When I'm going through a particular thing in my process, well then what I need to hear jumps out at me. So it's really fantastic. So I would recommend everybody that's listening to go and get that download because as well as that, the Shakti Kundalini is upon Chrism's voice, and that is a very special thing as well. And you really need to experience that to know what I'm talking about. And if you go to Kundalini Awakening on Facebook, you will also see there's a post of, I think it was Julian posted one sample of Chrism singing How Beautiful Art Thou. And so it will give you a little taste of what that download is about. So I'd encourage all of you to do that. And the donation for that is just $9. And that goes towards supporting the work that Chrism does. So it's another way of donating. So
thank you.
Can
Thank
I
you,
stop?
Chantal.
Okay. You're welcome.
Sounds like one of those public television stations asking for money. and we have this prize for you.
I know, but I don't speak about that very often, and it's a very precious thing people can download. So I just, I'm enthusiastically encouraging people to go do that. They will be very glad they did. I know nobody who said, darn, I wish I hadn't got that CD.
Oh, my gosh. Well, thank you. Thank you,
You're welcome.
Chantal. Thank you for that. And how has your week gone since we last spoke, this last show?
My week has been wonderful, very interesting. I had been sick and unwell, and that, thanks be to God, has cleared up. My energy is back, and I went and I spent a lovely 2 days, well, one day, one overnight, and most of today in Kerry. And that was a very short retreat that I had with my Kundalini, and it was very special, very, very good for me. I needed to do that. So, yeah, so that's...
Okay. All right. Well, congratulations. I'm happy that you're better. I know that you were suffering there for a while, so, I'm happy that has passed. Thanks be to God,
yes,
as you said.
Thanks, and Kundalini. And just about my time in Kerry, Chrism, there was some really beautiful experience, some intense sadness and release and joy, and some confusion. But I feel, I'll get clarity with that in Kundalini time. And I did get actually some intense clarity on other issues as well. So
did you treat Carrie nicely while you were inside her?
I had a wonderful time in Kerry. I have a little bit of an issue going on with the woods, the Kundalini woods. That's intensely sad for me. I went down. Yeah, they're being. Well, it's actually the trees that were planted there are a harvest. They were planted there with the intention of being harvested. So that was the intention. But for me, that place was very precious and special, and I just find it really difficult. So it was hard.
Yes, indeed. But the bog is still there, and the bog is to me, the bog is the source of the force there in that area.
Yes, the bog has been untouched all the time. I mean, even, it's 20 years since that wood was put in. And I remember 20 years ago I was upset because they were destroying so much of the natural habitat there. But the bog was in the center, and that's untouched. So, yes, you're right. That bog is still there.
Doesn't that bog go back like 20, 30,000 years, right?
Oh, it's ancient, way ancient, more than that, I would think.
Right. So the bog
really
is the real. Yeah, that's the real magical spot there, I think. But I'm glad that you made it down to Kerry. I think you might want to take a little next time you're down there. You might want to take a sip of the waters from the crazy man's well. Just maybe a few teaspoons. Nothing at all. It might soothe you from the forest withdrawals.
Yeah. No, that there's actually been some resolution for me, but it's interesting. It was a good time, Chrism, and it's good to have the opportunity to be on my own. I think we all need to do that at times.
Well, especially with Kundalini, my dear.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to come on over to Rosemary here, and I'll keep you on the microphone there, Amelia. And I want to say hello, Rosemary.
Hello, Chrism, and I want you to know that Joey is here sitting with me. The two of us are here, and we're heading to a meeting down in Burnsville at the place that we've been to. So we'll be connecting for a little bit and then back again in the car when we're on the road.
The two that are one.
Hello. Yes. 3 that are one, 4 that are one.
All right. Well, hello, Joey. Hello, Rosemary. Rosemary, how has your week been going? I know that our last show about attachments hit you fairly strongly, and I'd like you to kind of bring people up to date on what has been happening with you with regards to your attachments.
Well, it was the simplest expression that I've heard in these 5 years about almost like the structure of the ego. There were things that you were saying, and I said, oh, my goodness, it just makes a big leap for me. And there were things that mentally you could be attached to, like an opinion that you had. I'm picturing this little 5-year-old little girl. I was the second of turned out to be 6, and there was always a lot of help to do, and I've been doing that all my life. But some of that same whatever I said then was the judgment that I had about being needed and being helpful and taking care of things. All of that was this 4 or 5, whatever age I was, I made a judgment, and I've been attached to that judgment. And it's so early in life, but there's other stuff that's not so early, but whatever we're thinking about that, we really think it's real. And it influences us to today, my trying to sort out things that I'm working on, and I know the work that I have been doing always had to be helping people. You know, that's part of it. And when you talked about it, I said, my goodness, I know how that all gets put in there. It's just a thought that a child has or an adult has, and we take it for real. And then it continues to stay attached to us. We stay attached to it, and we think of it as ourselves. So I've been just letting things flow around in my head, and it's very freeing. I haven't done extensively anything about it, but I just pay a close look. And I had yesterday a good expression of words, and I think I maybe have said to you in a message, but I've forgotten now what it was. But I've been addicted to helping people, I could say. I've been working harder than I need to. And there's it's an attachment to that stuff, and maybe even that word addiction. I don't know if that fits here. That's a little too strong. I'm not sure, but that occurred to me. And I've experienced as well just saying, well, I don't need to do that anymore. I don't need to. And there was freedom.
Nice, Rosemary.
Oh, I thank you.
Well, no, and thank you for giving us an update on how the attachment scenario is going with you. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I mean, we gain attachments throughout our entire lifetime. For different reasons, different subjects, and different teachings. An attachment will be given to us, and we'll receive a specific teaching from that attachment. But when the teaching is done, the attachment does not need to stay there, and most of the time it does, until a person, comes into, say, the Kundalini range, and the Kundalini begins to take care of some of those attachments. And so, thank you, Rosemary, for telling us your story, and thank you, Joey, for listening and going down to the meeting in Burnsville, for whatever meeting that is. And I'm going to go ahead and put you in the blue here, and I'm going to come back to you, Santara. And you say you collected about 6 questions for me, right?
Yes, Chrism, about 6. I'm just going to pull them up now. Do you want me to start?
Yeah, because I have a feeling there's going to be more. She's kind of giving me a feeling to do this right now.
Okay.
Compelling. Losh is on my left. Wash is on my left. My Peruvian mug is on my right, and I'm ready to rock. Let's do it.
Okay, here we go. No private or messages to my inbox, so all of these are coming from the group's Chrism. I remember a little while ago someone posted about the Kundalini being stuck in their head. What do you mean by that? Because I feel the same way. The vibrating, pulsating, brain shocks, pressure, and energy surges in my head are very intense and constant. They have been for years now. It really affects my life and makes me feel very disorientated. It is a very unpleasant way to live. What would be the reason why this would continue?
Well, it's part of the whole evolution of being, you placed in the physical. You start out being in the physical, and then you're being merged with divinity. You're being merged into a divine construct. And in order for the physical organism to be merged into a metaphysical or a divine organism, certain levels of energetic transformation have to occur. And many of the symptoms of Kundalini awakening and activation are all about the physical organism becoming accustomed and acclimated to the higher energies that are coming in from a divine source. And so when we are being changed into a semi-divine physical organism, many levels of energetic transformation are going to occur. Some of the energies will be felt as shocks, like electrical shocks, and you'll feel them in your feet, and you'll feel them in your chakras, but you'll feel them in the minor chakras as well, the toe tips, the center of the foot, all the way up through the ankles and the knees and the hips, and then of course the 7 major chakras, but the elbows, the finger joints, and the fingertips, and the hand chakra in the center, all the way up through the wrist and the elbow, the shoulder, the neck, and then of course into the skull, and inside the skull, throughout the brain, there will be energetic currents that up to that point the person has not had to feel, and they will be of varying degrees of amplitude. And this can happen for years and years and years and years, depending on how much that person is resisting it. And even if you don't resist it and you're fully open to this experience, that can turn up the volume. That can turn up the volume of the transformation, and stronger forms of energy will be coming through. I have a gentleman that I've been working with for a number of years now, and he is on his 6th or 7th year of basically sitting on a 8,000 volt live wire. As the Kundalini comes into him, he surrenders to it, and he doesn't get in the way. He allows it. He doesn't try to sculpt his work life or his social life around it. He, on the other hand, surrenders to the Kundalini and allows it to do its will with him. And so he gets some majorly strong shocks and applications to his second chakra or his gut. You got to remember that the intestines in the human being is like a great condenser coil. It is very much an electrically or an energetically amplifying and generative area for the human being. It's not just about digesting your food like science thinks. It's all about taking energy, prana, from the food and amplifying that energy, and amplifying to such a great degree that when the divine energy mixes into that extreme amplification from Kundalini, wow, boy, there is a huge level of shock that can be experienced. And I've had this too, and it can be actually quite frightening as you're launched. It can be terrifying because you don't realize, it's like, geez, I didn't know I was sitting on a power line, as you're being flung across the living room. but it feels that way. And this can happen over and over and over again, and other things too, like a direct impact upon the second chakra, which makes you feel like you're being punched in the stomach, things of that nature. These are all energetic transformations that are being given onto the person, and the person may just, oh my gosh, they might just lose hope. They might just lose hope. They've tried everything. They've gone online. They've gone to famous gurus. They've gone to infamous gurus. They've gone to every source that their ego mind can think of to try to stop this or control this, and they're just out of options, and they just kind of just give up, and it happens. And it can bring a person into a level of depression. It's very important that the person does not fall victim to that depression, because it's an extremely strong phenomena. It's much stronger than say a positional kriya or an emotional kriya. It's much stronger than that. It literally can throw you across the room. It threw me about 15 feet. If you can imagine that, if you can envision that, it scared the heck out of me. And at the time, I had no idea what was occurring. And there was also moving things around my perimeter, just heavy objects, incredibly tons. These things weigh tons. I was meditating on a driveway of a friend's place, and he had all this heavy equipment around me. He had 30 feet long, 12-inch steel pipes. There were about 18 of them stacked up, and they were all being lifted up and slammed down. It just scared me to pieces. And I bolted. I bolted from that place. I don't want to do that. It was amazing to me, and and there were so many other things that happened out on that piece of property from a Kundalini level. It's just amazing. When you begin to engage, and the Kundalini begins to engage you in these levels, it can be extremely frightening. But once again, I will counsel you to surrender to it, because you really don't have another option. Seriously. You don't have another option. And so I've been streaming. I've been closing my eyes and streaming with this. And I see that Manisha has just asked me a question. She says, Chrism, I suddenly feel a spot on top of my head, very tender to the touch, like as if I have hit my head, and it sort of feels tender, just a circle of about 6 centimeters wide. Just noticing. I'm not sure what a centimeter is. I know what an inch is, but I'm not quite sure what a centimeter is. I would just accept it, Manisha, as I look at you. You have a great radiance, and you're actually inside of a development like this. The more you dance, the more you invite it. Just be aware. Don't be afraid. Keep doing your grounding work. It's very important to do the grounding work, even though the grounding work can actually, attract more electrical or, divine electrical work, because, in order for an electrical flow to occur, there has to be a positive and a negative to allow that flow to occur. And it's the same thing as when you ground yourself spiritually into the earth. Well, that opens up more of an energetic flow to occur within your system. And of course, this energetic flow within your system is all about your transformation. And so, Manisha, you just keep yourself grounded, and don't be concerned about the tender spot. Every part of the body is going to be transformed, and she won't do it all at once typically, unless there's a karmic reason for her to do that for you. But typically, she'll take it little pieces at a time. And it sounds to me, as Lasha lets me know her displeasure. It sounds to me like she's doing well with you, Manisha, so no worries. And if there's anybody else on the chat room group that would like to ask a question about this aspect of it, please feel free. It's a very, very important aspect, because it can be so shocking, no pun intended.
Well,
Have you had this, Santara?
No, not the shocks that you described, Chrism, about being thrown across the room. But before I knew anything about Kundalini, there was, I was going through an activation. I didn't know that's what was happening. And there was a lot of things happening in my head. I had like electric needle stabbings and pulsations and that disorientation as well. And I thought I had a brain tumor, and I thought maybe.
Well, I haven't wanted to say anything, Centaura.
But it's frightening. I mean, that lady is talking about her head, and to actually, with all the stuff going on, if you don't know what's going on, it's even worse than when you do, because you don't know that you're to surrender, that it is a divine input, that you're being, prepared. I didn't know that at the time. So I think, I think once it continued as well, I must say, afterwards, but with the information, that made a difference,
The information does make a difference, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for bringing that up, Centaura. Once you know what is happening, it takes a big level of stress off of the ego consciousness. And part of that stress release is about the fear of the unknown that it takes away. And this level of shock can be kind of constant for some people. I know a person right now that's having it kind of in a constant level, going up the legs and into the knees and around that. All you can really do is just let it occur. You just let it occur, and you surrender as best you can. You realize what's going on, and you move forward with it. But it is part of the transformation. And getting back to the lady's question, there's nothing that you want to do to try to stop it. What you want to do is understand what is occurring. As soon as you're able to understand what is occurring, that takes a whole level of stress and anxiety out of the person's experience with it. So if you don't know what is occurring, well, then you want to try to stop it. The ego will try to kick in and try to figure out different ways to stop it. And I'm not going to encourage anybody to stop that kind of activity. I want them to understand it. And I want them to take any kind of measure, whether it's drugs or alcohol or MDs or psychotherapists or witch doctors or shamans or fake gurus, as per our last call, out of the equation. You let this occur. This is coming straight from the divine. It is a divine gift. It is part of the divine transformation. And it is something that you want to receive, even though it's not comfortable. You got to think of yourself as a baby being born halfway into divinity. Halfway. So one leg, one arm, one eye, one ear, one half of the rib cage.
No, it's true though.
It is. You're in the womb and out of the womb at the same time.
Yeah. And then somehow when you know this, you can be grateful for the pain, because it has a purpose. You can accept it and be okay with it, having some kind of an understanding, even if you don't understand all of it. That it's there from the Kundalini. That makes it so much easier to surrender to what's being done.
Exactly. And I'm being compelled to give the guest call-in number. And that number is United States area code 347-934-0026. 347-934-0026. So anybody who wants to call in, anybody who's listening on their computer or listening in the chat room or anywhere, basically, feel free to call in and let's have a conversation about your Kundalini awakening. And if you could go ahead and ask the next question.
I will. And 6 centimeters is 2.5 inches. I Googled it.
Thank you.
Okay. Carolyn, so the next question is it all right to have crystals in the home, or wear on one's person. I have quite a lot of crystals in my house. I also wear one my sister gave me for my birthday last year, so that's of sentimental value. Is it okay?
Yes, it's okay. People who use crystals for healing, that is not okay. You don't. So, for instance, if you're having the electrical symptoms that we just spoke about, and you go to some healers, it's like, oh my gosh, Master Crystallologist Chrism, how do I get rid of these shocks that are permeating my body, and I just can't focus or concentrate? Oh my God, what do I do? And the Master Crystallologist says, well, let me see. It might be an entity, so we need to use black tourmaline. And we'll get rid of that entity with the black tourmaline. And it's absolutely useless. It's absolutely useless. And you're taking the comedy out of it, if that was comedy. The crystals can actually amplify a problem. Crystals, by their own nature, amplify electricity. The computer or the cell phone or what you're listening to this program on has chips in it that have crystal. They used to call it a crystal set back in the 40s and 50s. And it was a radio transceiver. And crystals amplify energy. They don't bring it down. And yet, at the same time, our body is composed of crystals. Our cellular structure is composed of a mineral mix that forms a crystalline structure that basically allows our body to exist at all. We are walking, talking crystals. Now, one kind of crystal is very different. It's very special. And that kind of crystal is a quartz crystal, a clear quartz crystal. These are the one things that if you go out of body in an astral exploration, or if you're a shaman and you're working on a shamanic problem and you go outside of your body, the one thing that stays the same in your environment is that quartz crystal. It is transdimensional. And so a quartz crystal, being that, can serve as a point of reference for where you are. If you get lost outside of your body, like some people that are having that are in a coma, they kind of become lost outside of their body. Well, if they had a quartz crystal that they were familiar with, and that came with them as they went into the coma, well, that could give them an anchor, a way to stay around the body without getting lost from it. So there's that one thing. The shamans they become very attached to their quartz crystals. I have some quartz crystals that I picked up from John of Gods down in Brazil, and I feel very good. I feel very good when I handle them. It's very good energy, very positive. But I don't use them for healing. The only vector of healing that I use is the Kundalini, and I don't even get to use it. It uses me as a point of radiance, and it's the radiance that reaches into a person and gives them that healing. And sometimes, I'm allowed to participate in that healing, but it's a participation, not a controlling aspect. So no, I don't suggest that people use, crystals or gemology or anything to initiate healings upon another person. And let's talk a little bit more about that as Lasha comes up and wants to get closer to the conversation. Come over there. Yeah, thank you. A lot of the stones that you'll get, crystals and whatnot, have been smoothed out, have a very smooth coating on the outside. And that's an oxide. I believe it's a copper sulfate or some sort of a chemical that has been added to these stones in order to make them smooth. And that is what is impacting the skin surface of an individual. I don't care if you're wearing it. I don't care if you're applying it on a chakra and waving your hands and saying, oh, you. You know, I don't care what you're doing. I shouldn't have done that. I take that back.
Oh.
Because I used to do that. I have the two major, you know, crystal healing books back in the day, and it's the copper sulfate. I believe it's just the copper sulfate that's laying on the person. You know, that it creates a coating around the gem or around the agates or whatever rocks that you're using. Now, it's not to say that rocks do not carry power. They don't. It's not to say that crystals don't have their own energetic signature. They do, but within a Kundalini context, they're not to be applied to Kundalini people. Most people apply. They want to go for a healing because they don't understand what's happening to them. They don't understand how the Kundalini is working within them, and so they go hither and yon looking for a healing because they don't understand the symptoms, and they feel that there's something wrong. This is really the main reason why people don't, why I say don't go to the crystals for healing, because there's really nothing wrong with you. The thing that's going to cure you the most is information. Is surrender to your Kundalini. So information and surrender to the Kundalini, these are the things that are going to cure you of the false illness that your ego, through its lack of information, has given you. Okay. You don't need somebody laying crystals on your chakras. And it's not good for the chakras anyway. You know, it's in many ways, it's forcing too much energy through them, which means that you're going to have even stronger negative symptoms than you currently are having. Now, the placebo aspect, if you're not having Kundalini and you're just, you know, some person has the flu, comes in, oh, crystallologists, give me a healing, you know, and they'll lay the rocks on you and you're in a certain pattern. And they'll say, oh, yes, you know, the clear quartz is going to clear your lungs and it's going to clear your eyes and it's going to clear the specific body parts. And you go in there and, you know, gosh, you know, wow, that was really good. That works. You know, fine, I'm good with that. But if they have Kundalini, not so much. And, okay, and over with that question, my dear.
Thank you, Chrism. So the next question is, does anybody, meaning you now, know how long spontaneous yoga poses when they stop and dance stop? It's been 10 hours. I had to call in sick. I know Kundalini wants to get rid of my sciatica because the focus is there and my frozen arm from surgery long ago. How long can this last? Please help. Does it go further than 24 hours?
Oh, yeah. It can go for days and days until you fall in exhaustion. But let's get a little background on this person. This person has just activated, very new to it, and during the activation, instead of they contacted me and I worked with them a couple of times on Skype, gave them the safeties and, you know, talked about it with this individual. And then this individual went out and started surfing the web. And as she surfed the web, she came across different mantras and different teachings and different techniques, and she kind of threw them all in a bowl, minced them and diced them and added a little water and then drank them all down at once. Big mistake. Okay. And so now she's got a lot of different entities that have attached to her. Now she has a lot of different phenomena. She's dancing, and the dancing is just like the red shoe dancing. I think the red shoes, a couple of ruby red ballet slippers. Once you put them on, you can't stop dancing until you die. I think Manisha might know that story. So this person has been continuously dancing for a while. I think she may have dropped it from exhaustion after a while now. And then because she was not feeling comfortable with it, she had to call in sick. She's a single mother. she's got to make the ends meet, the money. She's got to keep the money coming in. Well, then she decided to try to make it stop by taking a pharmaceutical pill, by taking a Xanax, of all things. So she takes a Xanax to try to make it stop, which is another big strike against, surrendering to the Kundalini. So this person is one of those people that, as nice as they are, very sweet, nice person, they've got this very strong ego will. And they're going to resort to the ego for pleasure and for, returning to pleasure if they feel like they're not in pleasure. And any other teaching is just not going to filter in for that person. They are going to have to learn the hard way, because they and their ego are going to keep experimenting with this and experimenting with that, going for the pleasure, always trying to stimulate that pleasure zone, and then dealing with the ramifications, because, in those areas, nothing really comes free to you. And so you're going to pay for it one way or the other. And now, once you experience the pleasure, well, you also experience the entity attachment. And as you experience the entity attachments, well, then the entities want to get a greater level of grip upon your body. So they start taking over your body in certain ways and stimulating your pleasure center as they do, and so on and so forth. It becomes a big possession game. And I want to really say to you who are listening not to go this route. Do not let your ego constantly search for pleasure, which is what it does. It goes away from hardship and pain and into pleasure and fun. Do not let your curiosity control your equation. If the Kundalini has given you the name of a teacher, and you feel that this is true, then you stick to what that teacher is teaching you. That's what the Kundalini wants you to do. You don't just contact the teacher like this person did. Oh, when I was typing in something on Google to try to find a teacher, to try to find someone who knows about this, and all of a sudden the name Mitchell comes up, and then I go into Facebook, and oh my gosh, there you are, Chris Mitchell, and oh my gosh, so you're a teacher of Kundalini, and oh my gosh, this is what I'm happening, and oh my gosh, this is not an accident, and oh my gosh, here we go. You don't just ignore what that teacher is telling you and then go off onto your own into the internet and start practicing all these weird chants and certain types of teachings that allow entities to basically take you over. You don't let that occur. You've got to put the brakes on it somewhere, somehow, some way. Okay. It's not all about happy, happy, joy, joy either. As we were discussing the energetics and the electrical symptoms that can occur, these are not pleasurable. These are not pleasant things all the time. And it can be so pervasive and so annoying and so painful at times. And you're wondering, oh gosh, where's the happy, happy, joy, joy of my Kundalini? Where's that? You see, this is the ego speaking. You don't always want to chase after the joy. You want to understand what is occurring. You want to understand what is happening. You want to pay attention to what the Kundalini is telling you. If the Kundalini is telling you to learn from a certain person, then learn from that person first. Anyway, so this person now is got the red shoes on, the Kundalini shoes, the Shakti shoes, and she's dancing around, and maybe she's still dancing. Maybe she hasn't dropped from exhaustion yet, but, she's going to pay the piper now. Over.
Okay. Next question.
Big sigh. That was a big sigh.
Well, no, that was very intense. Because there's so much truth in that, My God.
Yeah.
Okay. So the next question is about happiness, actually. What is true happiness, Master? What does one feel when one is truly happy?
Happiness. Well, some parts of happiness is beyond words, but some aspects of it. Let me see what I wrote here. I don't want to misspeak. Come down there. Yeah, happiness isn't all about what you can formulate with your mind.
I have it. Will I read it?
Yes, please do, because I'm looking for it here.
Yeah, you said happiness in its partial potential is optimism mixed with love, mixed with pleasure, mixed with joy.
Yeah. There's a certain fulfillment that a person gets from happiness, and that fulfillment has all of those qualities mixed into it. It's what causes us to laugh, and in many ways, it's also a stress buster too. It releases stress, and it is part of that. What's the word? It's part of the equation that explores the very, very, very deep darkness and unhappiness and sadness and pain of an individual, all the way over to the ecstasy and bliss and joy and all of that of an individual. So, it's that spectrum of emotional experience that's incorporated into the physical expression as well that we can experience. And most of the time, take these headphones out. Most of the time, we want to galvanize ourselves more toward, out of the balanced position where you're at zero, and then, say you go towards happiness a little bit and you're like 10 degrees into the happy zone or, 10 degrees into the sad zone. But the Kundalini will want you to stay in the zero zone and then allow itself to spike you into the bliss zone or the happy zone or into any of the various zones that exist within that spectrum of emotional human experience. Happiness is different for each person. It's different for each culture. It has its own expression in each culture, and it's something that people want to understand, that it's not the same thing for everybody. It's not the same thing for everyone, and it is a form of emotional expression that allows us to feel joy, to feel bliss, to feel comfortable, to feel pleasure. And of course, it's one of the main targeted areas, just for those reasons, of the ego. The ego always wants to be happy. It never wants to be sad. That's why I suggest that when people are trying to move the ego out of their system, well, they employ pain. Because the ego will always run from pain. Okay. And so, with what is happiness? Happiness, you can also say happiness is a psychological state that is tilted towards pleasure, the receipt of pleasure and the searching for pleasure, all in the same thing. And you've gone into the pleasure zone when you're in happiness. And that, it's such an intangible and yet tangible, because we all have the capacity to feel happy. Do we all feel happy in the same way? When we meet somebody and they do something bad to us and we turn around and we get instant revenge on them and we feel so complete. Ha ha ha, gotcha. Is that happiness? Is that a happy quality? Did we just feel joy at the infliction of a of a revenge motivation on another person? Was that happiness? Did that give us pleasure? Is that true happiness? Can we have true happiness in inflicting pain and hurt on other people? You see, this is a different area of discussion when we're talking about happiness. Some people will say, yeah, absolutely. Donald Trump, he would say, absolutely, I feel happy when I get them back and give them 10 times worse than what they gave me. That's kind of a quote from him. Spiritually speaking, no. That is a detriment to our development. That is a detriment to our soul. That is a false pleasure, eliciting false happiness. You get in very deep into what is happiness, what is sadness. That's the other side of the coin, really. What is sadness? It's a lack of pleasure, the lack of comfort, the lack of joy. And yet it is as important as happiness. You must have the reference point for sadness to enjoy happiness, and the reference point for happiness to enjoy sadness. It's part of that, the dualistic aspect of our natures that disappears once we have the Kundalini. Once we have the Kundalini, we are happy and sad at the same time. And we're actually moving out of the dualistic pleasure zone at the same time that we're staying in it. Once again, we're halfway out of the womb and halfway not out of the womb. We are semi-divine. Half of us is divine. Half of us is still earthbound. Within that understanding, we are given downloads of wisdom that encompass the dualistic natures of happiness and sadness. And yet we're still able to go to those distinct poles of expression, of emotional expression. Anyway, I'll end it right there. Over.
Thank you, Chrism. The next question. Any techniques for breaking up tightness, specifically in the chest plate region? Feels like almost a build-up of cartilage or something that's blocking the breath on the bottom of my sternum. I've been practicing the safeties and 5 Tibetans, but I'm wondering if there's any heart chakra specific exercise I can do to open the chest. Thank you.
The person's making an erroneous assumption that it's his heart chakra that needs work. First of all, if it's below the sternum, we're talking about the 3rd chakra, not the 4th chakra. Second of all, in many people, there is something called a xiphoid complex that is there right at the base of the sternum. Okay. Thirdly, if you are practicing the safeties and you're doing your forgiveness work, your tolerance work, your patience work, your service work, if you're doing that work, if you're doing the 5 Tibetans, and if you're doing all of these things in the safeties, then you're encouraging a greater flow of Kundalini coming up your spine. And as you encourage that greater flow of Kundalini coming up your spine, you are indeed incurring a certain level of Kriya activity. And one of those Kriyas is a tightening of the muscles below the sternum. It's called a bandha in Sanskrit. And it's a lock. And in one of these bandha locks that comes as a Kriya, the diaphragm will be tucked under the rib cage. And this is what is beginning to occur for this individual. He is experiencing a bandha lock that is beginning to tuck the diaphragm under the rib cage. And it will do this automatically. And this person would be smart to surrender to that lock, surrender to that condition, rather than erroneously allowing his ego to run rampant in what it thinks is going on, which is, of course, not really what is going on. This is a typical ego response based on not enough information. Over.
That's fabulous. Thank you, Chrism. I'm experiencing a lot of vertigo and my body temperature alternates between hot and quite cool. Is this part of the Kundalini awakening process? I hope it's just a phase. It's really uncomfortable.
Well, here we go. Once again, we're dealing with Kundalini symptoms that are not pleasure, that are not absolute sadness. But we're talking about a person that is experiencing temperature variations, and they don't know why. And this creates that fear of the unknown within the individual. And yes, these are Kundalini symptoms. You will go to the spectrum of absolute freezing. It's like you have ice water in your veins, all the way up to the point of having yourself sweating inside, freezing temperatures outside. You're still sweating. It's just so hot that there's no way you could freeze, which is kind of what I find myself most of the time. You'll go back and forth with these temperature variations, and they'll rove. They'll go to different areas of the body. Say your left foot might be really cold, but your right foot might be really hot.
That's even weirder.
Yeah, your brain is just kind of working overtime trying to make sense of it. One half of the body will be numb, the other half will be really tactile, and it's part of the transformation. These expressions of temperature variation are part of that energetic insertion of divinity that the Kundalini is bringing into the body. And if you want to go further into it, the cold or the freezing expression is that of the sacred feminine, and the heat and the hot expression is that of the sacred male. And as the two of them course through your system, even as they're married, you still get to have the expression upon your physical being of the temperature variations that come with both of them. Pretty soon, your system will equal itself out, and you'll come into an expression of divine temperature that is appropriate to where the Kundalini wants it to be within you. But until that occurs, you're going to be going back and forth into different levels of temperature variations that will not be comfortable. A lot of people have a problem with being cold, but because I've been hot for so long, I lust after coldness. Matter of fact, yesterday we had these incredibly amazing super storms coming off the coast of California and sweeping across the land. And of course, I took the two dogs and myself out to a part of the wilderness that probably was fairly dangerous in that type of scenario. Lots of trees, we could have had a tree fall on us. But I went out there, and it was so cold and icy and lovely. The wind was blowing 60 miles per hour, and the creek we were walking next to was a few feet from flooding over the banks, and it was just wonderful, wonderful, wonderful feeling, very cleansing feeling for me. But that's not for everybody. That's for somebody who runs just a little bit hot all the time. For somebody who runs just a little bit cold, well, these are the people that would be, going into the desert area, just kind of going, oh yes, oh that feels so good, and everybody else is like sweating bullets just because it's so hot. You will have these temperature variations, and it will land. It'll eventually settle down into an area of temperature expression that the Kundalini wants you to have. And from that point, as you continue your process, it may equal out into an equal division of heat versus cold, or it just may, like it has with me, land you in a slightly, one way or slightly just the other way. And don't worry about it. This is not an illness. You're not sick. Nothing is wrong. This is just part of the process that you are to surrender to. However, if you do find yourself running a bit hot, then you want to stay well hydrated. You want to keep your electrolytes happy. Electrolytes are like a mineral supplement, or you can get colloidal minerals here in the States. I don't know about Ireland or the EU or Asia or India or Africa or Australia or Japan or any of the other places in the world. But I know here in the States you can get colloidal minerals in a liquid, and you can just like give a eyedropper full of that into a glass of water, and you can just drink it, and it works very well. Otherwise, you can have coconut water or coconut milk, or otherwise you can have watermelon. It's great for cooling you down too if you're running a little bit hot. And the same goes with being cold, except you're not excreting as much of a fluidic output when you're cold as when you're hot. And when you're cold, you just kind of want to make sure, wear a jacket, maybe do some layers that you wouldn't normally do on a beautiful spring day. But, kind of give yourself a level of balance that is helpful, for people that are running just a little bit more into the sacred feminine than in the sacred male. You're not taking away the heat. You're not taking away the cold. You're just kind of giving your ego a little bit of balance within it in order to understand it. Now, when I was walking through that storm yesterday, at about this time actually, I would have preferred to have just ripped all my clothes off and walked through that in the nude completely, that way. That would have been perfect for me. Not being a good-looking woman, not being, able to be, shall we say, molested or hurt in those types of ways that do happen for the sacred feminine among us. But also, not wanting to be arrested, or not that there was one guy with a couple of dogs was running back at me. I could have done it, but I felt it was probably best not to encourage any kind of a problem for myself or for my dogs at the time. But if you can find it in your ability to get out into nature as you experiencing these roving temperatures, get out into nature barefoot on bare soil, naked if you can, and make sure that you're not being seen by other people. This is very important to understand. No, very few people are interested in nudist colonies, and usually that's got a sexual orientation anyway. I'm talking about being natural in nature without a sexual stimulative reasoning. I'm talking about being natural in nature as a communion with the sacred male and sacred feminine within you, and its mirror image outside of you. So if you can do that, I think it would be highly, highly beneficial to you and to the roving temperatures, because it has being natural in nature that way has a way of balancing a person outside of the energetics that are attached to clothing and the people who made the clothing, outside of societal expectations, outside of societal programming. It has a way of really being a very positive, conducive experience for the Kundalini activated or awakening individual. Over.
Thank you, Chrism. This is a question based on something on the groups. I'm not reading directly, but if a Kundalini person is giving up cigarettes, is it best if they don't get a nicotine patch or nicotine gums? How do they approach giving up cigarettes?
Well, the actual force of the addiction is the nicotine. The smoking is just basically a vector of nicotine infusion. And so when you're replacing smoking with a patch, well, you're still addicted to the nicotine. You're just using a different vector of infusion. The best way within a Kundalini context is to ask your Kundalini to help you stop smoking cold turkey. Just stop it. Stop it. And have the personal discipline to allow that to occur. If you need something to do with your fingers, then do it with carrot sticks or celery sticks. Carrot sticks are better because if you're a smoker, then you've incurred some level of lung damage, and lung damage is greatly relieved by having carrots and the constituents or the components of carrots come into your system. Matter of fact, if you're a heavy smoker, I would have you drink, 12 ounces every day of freshly pressed carrot juice. Just that, just the juice. Don't mix in, the cabbage or the greens or any of that stuff. You just have the carrot juice. And that's for the repair and replacement of the specific tissues within the lung and on the alveoli of the lung and even the cilia, if that hasn't all been burned off inside of the lung tissue. There's a good 7 years of repairing that needs to occur. So, 12 ounces of fresh pressed carrot juice every day in the morning, and that's all. That's all you need to do, unless you want to do more, which I typically like carrot juice, so it works well for me. But you may even feel your Kundalini calling you towards the carrot juice. The Kundalini will call you towards certain nutrients to help repair the body that's been damaged by things such as smoking. Now, because we have the legalization of marijuana here in the States, or at least, many of the states in the States, people are using that as an excuse to really, really go hyper smoky in their expressions. And once again, smoking cannabis is just as detrimental, if not more so, than smoking a natural made cigarette, and it's not as quite as bad as smoking a cigarette company brand like Marlboro, Pall Mall, or something like that. You're not getting a lot of benzene or all the different additives that the cigarette companies put in to make the cigarette burn a certain way. But you are still getting tars, and you're still getting the nicotine addiction, and you're still pumping a bunch of ash into your alveoli and your lung tissue. And so once again, you're not helping things at all. And I know a lot of people are going to say, well, I'm a practicing shaman and I have this really good relationship with tobacco, and I just love to smoke the tobacco because I have this really good relationship with tobacco because I'm a shaman. So I'm going to smoke. And I say, hey, if this is your religious thing, if this is what you're doing to smoke, or this is your religious purification. I know that in the ayahuasca ceremonies, they do a lot of smoking of natural tobacco leaf, and there is indeed an entity that is associated with natural tobacco leaf, and they do it for levels of purging. And I say that's great, as long as you don't take that tobacco home and smoke it when you're not purging, or when you're not preparing for an ayahuasca ceremony. Now, some of these people who lead ayahuasca ceremonies, they're never not on ayahuasca, because ayahuasca lasts for a while in the body. And if they're doing ayahuasca ceremonies every weekend, like they do, like Alonzo does down there in Peru, and a couple of the other shamans I know that do up here in the States, you're never not off ayahuasca. And so there's room for perpetual purification by virtue of the tobacco leaf as well. And I would definitely encourage those people to drink as much carrot juice a day as they can in order to offset some of the liabilities that an overindulgence of a specific herb or drug or purification unit can incur upon the body. With regards to the answer of the person on the group, though, Amelia, talk to the Kundalini first and foremost. Have a conversation with the Kundalini. Make an agreement with the Kundalini, and let her teach you how not to fall victim to your own egoic desires to fulfill addictions. Over. Over. Hello. Did I lose you, Amelia? Amelia?
No, I'm back. I somebody was on the phone. I spoke to them and forgot to put myself in the red.
Yeah.
Okay, I was asleep.
Couldn't you take care of that before the show? I mean, come on.
So, yeah, that's the end of the questions, Chrism. They're done. They're finished. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for asking them, and thank you for collecting them. And I'm happy to hear that you are over your illness, and that you but you're not in Cary, right?
No, I'm back home in Youghal again now. Yeah.
The next time you go to Cary, even though it's winter time, I want you to go swimming in the ocean all the way under. Hold your breath and stand it for a good 20 seconds, okay?
Okay, will do.
All the way
will
under.
Do. Yeah,
right.
When I was living in Kerry, you would have instructed me along those lines, and yeah, I certainly will. The other night, actually, well, anyway, never mind. Pass. Go on.
I want to let people know where they can also explore some of the information that comes from the Kundalini as it expresses itself through myself, and that is on YouTube. Go to YouTube in the search window. You put Chrism.Kundalini, and that will come up to a little over 300 videos that have been made regarding specifically the Kundalini. We have groups on the Yahoo network, Kundalini Awakening Systems 1 at Yahoo Groups, and Kundalini Healing at Yahoo Groups. We also have Kundalini Virgins at Yahoo Group, and that's kind of self-explanatory. We have Kundalini Awakening Systems 1 Tantra on the Yahoo Groups network. We also have groups on the Facebook network, Kundalini Awakening ! Kundalini Awakening Systems 2, Kundalini Awakening Systems 3, Kundalini People. We have the Kundalini Radiance Community. We have a private group so that nobody can read your posts. That would be Kundalini Awakening Systems 1 on the Facebook network, and you'll have to friend me in order to get on that, or our friend Santara, because she's also an administrator over there. We have a group on Google Plus, Kundalini Awakening ! We also have a group on LinkedIn, which would be Kundalini Awakening Systems 1 at LinkedIn. And we have a website. Some of the blog spot, I think Amelia touched on at the beginning of the show, so I won't repeat that. But we also have Kundalini Awakening Systems 1.com that has a lot of the writings on it. We have KAS1UK.com, and that's got some of the more recent writings on it. And if you want to explore the Kundalini Awakening safety protocols, I would suggest that you go to Kundalini Safeties on the internet, and this is put up by Vincent, and that gives you a nice little tutorial around the safety protocols. I want to let you know that I will be in Brazil at John of God's probably on the 18th. I'll be leaving. I'll be flying out here on the 18th down to Brazil, and I'll be. I probably won't be able to do the show, Amelia. I might be able to.
Okay.
Let's not cancel it yet, but yeah, I'll probably be able to do the show on Wednesday there. But for any of you that are down in the Brazil area, I would like to welcome you. We can have a nice conversation outside of the Casa de Dominación, and yeah, I look forward to reacquainting myself with João Teixeira de Faria, which is the real name of the guy that's called John of God. And we'll see how things go with Vincent. Vincent has been on this program. If you go into some of the past archive programs, Vincent's the guy that had the very, very, very strong entity attacks and possession. And his Kundalini is basically telling him to go to John of God's. And he asked me to come with him, and so I'm going with him, and we'll see how that goes. I have seen John of God actually remove entities, so we'll see how that goes with Vincent. And I want to keep us, we got 15 minutes, so if there is anybody in the chat room or somewhere else that would like to ask a question, I'm going to leave it open for a little bit. I'll be tap dancing here for a little bit here with regards to staying afloat here.
Okay,
I can't tap dance as well as Santara does. She does really, really, really excellent tap dancing.
I get practice, you see. I have a question for you then, Chrism. Maybe can you?
What you got?
It's sort of touching on some of the things you've already spoken about, but it's to do with painful kriyas. Kriyas where, you know, a person is surrendering, but the Kundalini, they're very, very intense. They're very, very painful. Can you talk a little bit about that? Why is that? Why are they so painful? Say, around what the Kundalini is doing with a person's neck or their head or that?
Well, it's kind of like the analogy I would use would be putting brand new socks on your feet the very first time. The foot would be the divine. Your face would be the sock. The sock is forced to stretch in ways that it has never stretched before. And so is your face also forced to stretch in ways that it has never stretched before, you know, in such broad, like when the face is given huge expressions. Like you don't just open your mouth, you open your mouth to the utmost extent that your mouth can possibly open. Your nostrils flare so wide, you will never believe how wide your nostrils can flare. And let me tell you, I have seen Santara's nostrils flare. I just could not believe it. If she had been in a high wind, she would have been taken away.
Taken off. It's true, though. You haven't seen them, though. But my God, Chrism, isn't it amazing what the nostrils do? I mean, how they can increase the circumference, and you're there and you're going and it's getting bigger and bigger, and then it's rock solid. That whole that
whole area.
the whole area.
Yeah, and it is rock solid, and my gosh, if you ever wanted to pick your nose, that would be the time.
And also, I know, and also then while the nostril is so big, the air moves in it all by itself. You know, I mean, you're breathing. The air just move in and out through one nostril. It's incredible.
It's amazing, and you know, and it's all because the Ida and the Pingala, these incredible rivers of Kundalini that go from the base of the spine all the way up into the face, but they terminate about 1/8 of an inch inside the upper lip of each nostril, and it's that river of grace that is really causing that nostril to hyper flare. And you got to understand that the eyes are chakras. The third eye is a chakra. There's a chakra right below your nose. Right, it's like the little divot on your lip there, right under the septum of the nose. I guess that would be called that. There's a little divot there. There's a chakra there. There's a chakra going straight down over the lower lip, right under the lower lip. There's a chakra there. There are chakras on the cheekbones. There are chakras around the ears. The 2 temples are chakras as well. There's chakras going above the third eye all the way up into the crown chakra. I mean, the face is just loaded with chakras. And when the Kundalini comes upon you and starts to stretch your face, well, it's also stretching and igniting and infusing those chakra systems as well. So when your face stretches, you just let it stretch. You let the nostrils flare. You let every aspect of your face be stretched, twisted, contorted. These are all facial kriyas, and they all must happen. You will make some of the happiest faces you've ever made in your life. You'll make some of the scariest faces you've ever had in your life. If you have small children, make sure you go to the bathroom before you do it. They won't understand. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I have been tap dancing. It looks like Andrew Lucariello is typing, but he was typing before, so I don't know if he's typing us or typing somebody else. But
I have another question then, connected to
good.
that
Go
as
ahead.
well. It's got to do again with the group. I'm just remembering. As well as having these kriyas, a person was experiencing toning, and I've had that as well, where this amazing sound comes out of you, and it's so loud. And that's a kriya as well, isn't it, Chrism?
Are we talking about coming out of the mouth?
Yeah.
All right.
Was. I missed that, obviously.
One would be a kriya, the other would.
Okay. The toning isn't. The sounds are not kriyas?
Yeah, toning. I mean, you can have laughter kriyas. You can have screaming kriyas. You can have like you say, toning kriyas. You can hear tones that other people don't hear. This would be kind of like an audiological type of kriya. Now, as far as ear stretching, I have not heard of the ear stretching, like the outside area of the ear, but I know that the inner area of the ear can be very, very manipulated. You can have the hearing completely cut off with the one ear, and you can subsequently hear some very low tones or very high tones. It's almost like something is covering up your entire left ear and just giving you these frequencies all at once, and then it slowly fades away, and then the other one can, the same thing can happen on the other side. And so the Kundalini will definitely work within the audio channels as well. And
Are
Andrew,
hot water feelings? Sorry.
Say again?
Hot water. It can feel like there's hot water in your ear as well. When.
Oh, okay. And welding, you can get a feeling like somebody's doing some spot welding inside your ear too. I've had that.
Yeah.
John of God,
Yeah.
the entities known as John of God are really good for spot welding inside the ear. Andrew Lucariello writes, he says, I've experienced facial kriyas, and he says, during my first Kundalini event, I experienced all kinds of vocal kriyas, and what an interesting household that would have been. Somebody not to take to the movies. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank you for participating in this program and listening to this program. And I would like to give my eternal thanks to Amelia Santara. And do you have last words at all, Amelia?
No last words. Just thank you very much, Chrism. Thank you to all the listeners, our caller. And we might see you next week. We'll check out during the week. You let us know, yeah?
Yeah. Well, definitely.
Okay.
I think it will be doable. I have to be at the airport at 4 a.m. So that'll be interesting. That means I'll probably have to leave here at 10 p.m. and then just kind of hang out at the airport for a long time.
Okay.
But I think the show next week is going on. And I'd like to thank everybody for participating. I will end the show as we began the show. And thank you once again, everybody, for listening. And for everybody that's listening in the archives, hello and thank you for listening in the archives. Here we go. Ah.